All right, so welcome everybody to this is the final session of EntreMD Live, the post event. Who is like, man, I wish this would last longer. I kind of got used to this whole 7 p.m. routine. We might come up with something, we'll see. But this is our final session. I am super glad that you're here. Because you're here, I will tell you, as somebody who is part of the Calvary, if there's a doctor is not living their dream life, is living in burnout and stuff like that, this is a great time to text them and say, you know what, why don't you come hang out with me for an hour? Okay, come hang out with me for an hour. This is going to be really good. Okay, so we have had the most unbelievable, this is the fifth day, I think, or so, with EntreMD Live. The theme this year has been the seven-figure entrepreneur, because I'm like, we can build very successful businesses. We can help a lot of people. We can create financial freedom for ourselves, and we can live our dream lives. Okay, so today we're going to really be looking at that dream life portion. Like, how can I build a really successful business and still have a life, right? It was not till I started working with doctors years ago that I realized that there is a real fear of success. Like, I don't want to build this. I don't want to build this big. I don't want to put myself, into this, because what happens to my family, right? Then I don't have time for my kids, and my kids don't turn out right. I don't have time for my spouse, and my marriage falls apart, and you know what I mean. And I stay burned out, and I stay in hustle mode, and all of that, and none of that is required. Hard work is required, but none of that is required, right? And so we're going to be looking at, we've looked at so many aspects of the dream business piece, right? The seven-figure mindset, the seven-figure social media brand, the seven-figure roadmap, the seven-figure marketing strategy, sales strategy, team, all of those things. But today we're going to be looking at you, okay? Now I want to be very clear. This is not about how to live your dream life, period, right? Because you can do that. Go take a few locum shifts, paid to travel the world, okay? You can do that. We're looking today at how to create that dream life while building your dream business. So this is for the person who is like, I want it all. Okay, so let me make sure I have the right people in the room. How many of you are like, I want it all, right? I want the dream business. I want the dream life. I want the dream business. I want to have time for my family. I want the dream business. I want to travel. I want it all. And you can have it all, right? And that's what this is about. How do I do that, right? So it's not dream life in isolation. It's dream life as I'm building my dream business, which means I maximize my potentials. I explore my potentials, right? I exploit my gifts in the service of humanity, and I live a dream life, right? Like it's having both of them. Okay. So it's not one in isolation, because wherever you have that, you're always going to have the temptation to do one, right? Like, I'm going to work, build this business and do this stuff and give up my life. Or I'm just going to live life and all this stuff and give up exploring my potentials. I want you to have both. That's what this is about. This is about, how do I have both? Okay, so we're going to be looking at that. So this is going to be simple. We're going to be able to do this. It's going to be simple. I didn't say easy. I said simple. Okay, and I want us to walk away going like, okay, I can do that. Okay, and this is what EBS is all about, the EntreMD Business School. So you see me refer to that. And I have not one or two, but I have three doctors who are going to share their stories with you guys tonight, which is so good. So we're going to talk some theory, and they're going to come and they're going to give you the, practically how this played out. Okay. So, and while we're at it, I want to say a big shout out to the doctors who have already joined the EntreMD Business School. So exciting. Orientation is on Thursday. So Thursday, the 15th, at 7 p.m. Eastern, going to be showing you how to get the most out of your first 90 days in the school. And Nikita may look at me weird when I say this, but in the EntreMD Business School, tomorrow we're going to be looking at, so this is in the school proper, we're going to be looking at those cash infusion strategies. And why are we looking at it now? Because we have 2 weeks left to the end of the second quarter of the year, and we're gonna rock those 2 weeks, right? We're gonna make them count. And so, well, how do I sprint to my revenue goals for Q2? That's what we're going to be doing. So for the people who've applied, they're going to be invited to join us on that call. Typically we do orientation first. And then for everyone who applies today and comes in as well, then you get to be part of that. And what better way to jumpstart this than doing that, right? And getting ready to really crush the second quarter of the year. So Application link will be in the comment on entremd.com/apply. We're going to be talking about that a lot today, because this is what we're going to be talking about today is basically what EBS prepares you to do. Okay. So before I bring on my first guest for tonight, I just want to give you 5 simple strategies to think about when you think about creating your dream life. Okay. So if you're ready, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. We're going to engage today. Who's ready? 5 simple strategies you can use to start. Hi, Dr. Reed. You can start using to, create your dream life starting today. Starting today. Okay. I have 7 people who are ready. The rest of you want to go home? Okay. Okay. So let's look at these 7. Let's look at these 7. Okay. The first one. Hi, Dr. Foley. The first one is owning the vision, right? Owning the vision that, this is possible. I can build a very successful business. I can scale my business. I can grow my business. Some of you here, you're already at 7 figures. You want to go to multiple. Some of you want to hit your first 100,000. Some of you want to cross to your first million, whatever that is. I can build that and build my dream life at the same time. And so that's owning that. That's that this is a possibility. And that's part of the reason why I'm not just going to tell you, I'm also going to interview people who are doing it. So you can see that, okay, this is possible. And that will help you reinforce that vision. So that means you go into Facebook groups and it's all woe is me and doom and gloom and we're stuck and oh my gosh, everything is falling apart. We're not pulling vision from there, right? But if you sit in those places, it will affect you. You want to allow yourself to dream. You want to allow yourself to embrace the possibility that I can build these two. I can build this business. I can really enjoy my life. I can enjoy the journey. Yes, you will have challenges. Yes, you have to work hard and all, but you can enjoy it. You can enjoy all of it. Okay. Think about, wow, I can accomplish a lot more by doing less. So I have time for other things that matter to me. And I'm not making this up. If I could take you on a tour of the EntreMD Business School Facebook group and show you the Q1 wins, it was a theme. Like I actually got a lot more done by doing less, right? So if you embrace that, like, wow, this could be me. I could lead this team. This team gives me the bandwidth to do more, right? I can start living a version of my dream life now so that as my business is growing, the version of the dream life I'm living is growing as well. Like these two can grow together. You own that vision and you don't let any challenge, anybody, any situation steal it from you. You own the dream. You own the dream. You don't subscribe to the other stuff. You unsubscribe from that. So that's number 1. Number two, okay? You want to live in the dream life as you're building your dream business. Number 2 is simplify. Like it's not about doing more, it's actually about doing less overall, but more of the right things. Okay? Simplify. Simply doesn't need to be complicated. Simplify. And what that means practically is that in EBS, this is the way to say it, you live in the 20%, right? In all the activities you do, there's this 20% that gives you 80% of the result, right? Pareto's principle, we all know that. The more you live in those 20% activities, the more time you create. The more you live in those 20% activities, the bigger your results are for less time, right? Now, we know what those 20% things are, but the thing is, those are the things we usually avoid. The things that will give us the biggest wins in our businesses, for instance, are typically the things we would procrastinate on. Okay, in EBS we call them frogs because we're Brian Tracy people. We've read Eat That Frog. We know what they're frogs. They're like, ugh, we don't want to do it. How many of you right now in your business, right now, right this moment, you know one thing you've been procrastinating on, you know it will bring big wins, but you're like, I'm not doing that. How many of you? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat, right? Those are the 20% things. They're usually the things we procrastinate on, but they're usually the things that will give us the biggest bang for our buck. That's just the way it is, right? So the second principle is here, simplify. You're going to do less, but you're going to do more of the things that will give you the big wins, right? More of those things, okay? So number one, own your vision. Number two, simplify, which basically means living in the 20%. That's what that means, 20%. Okay. Number three, is upgrade yourself. Okay. Now think about a tree and an axe. Okay. How long it takes for the tree to go down is dependent on how sharp the axe is. Period. Okay. Our businesses are like that tree. So the question is, what kind of axe is facing the tree? So the more I up level myself, right? So we talked about the 7-figure mindset. I upgrade the way I think. We talked about the 7-figure marketing team, marketing system. We upgrade the way we market. We upgrade the way we build our teams and lead our teams. Every time you, upgrade your capacity, upgrade all of those things, it becomes easier to create wins in your business and in your life. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so we talked about this. I am my best appreciating asset. Once I get better, everything gets better. Right? And so the sharper you are as an axe, the faster you can get things done. The more time you create for yourself, the more you can live life on your terms. You guys see that? Okay. So let me run through this because I want you to meet my guest here. Number 4, we talked about this on Saturday. Leverage your team. If you're going to live a dream life and you're going to build a dream business and live your dream life at the same time, leverage your team. Leverage your team. Build a team, leverage your team. Build a team, leverage your team. We talked about this on Saturday. It's a personal team, it's a business team, and if you have 5 businesses, it's 5 business teams, right? If you also lead a nonprofit, there's a team there as well. But it's that thing of, I can do everything. I don't have to do everything by myself. It must be done. I don't have to do it, right? Like, think about your business and think about the team you have. When you think about things that need to be done for your business, these are things that need to be done by somebody in your business. It must not be you, right? And the more you learn to leverage teams, the more you can create that dream life, because what you don't want to create is a business that is like a newborn baby that requires you 24/7. You may start there, right? But every mother going through the 24/7 period of a newborn is doing it knowing that this has a timeline. This is going to end. You see what I'm saying? So you may start there, but the idea is to build something you're separate from, so you have time for your life, okay? And then number 5 is keep your eyes on examples of what is possible. We are sight activated. We believe what we see. That's just how we are, right? The more you interact with people who are doing this, the more of this you can experience, the more of this you can create, the more of this you can dream about, the more of this you can see how this is possible for you. Okay. For me, I run a number of businesses, and it is amazing. People sometimes will say, "Oh, I know you're so busy," and all that stuff. And a lot of times I'm tempted not to correct them, because I'm like, yeah, then if I tell you I have all the time in the world, then you might find stuff for me to do and I don't want to do it, right? And so, but the truth of the matter is, my life looks way busier than it actually is. Way busier. I'm blessed to have teams that I work with. I've owned my story. I am not willing to sacrifice my marriage. I am not willing to sacrifice my family. I'm not willing to sacrifice my health for a business. I'm just not willing to do that. Those all are priorities before the business. Now, remember, I said it's both. So I'm not saying, so I'm going to do this and not that. I'm doing both, but I'm not doing one at the expense of another. Like, it's just not happening, right? And so in the midst of running these companies, in the midst of running 4 podcasts, in the midst of, helping thousands of people, in the midst of all of that, in many different roles, I'm able to homeschool my kids because that's what I want to do, right? I'm able to homeschool the older 2. I don't teach little people. So the younger 2, I take them to school. I bring them back because I want to, right? I'm able to chase after things. I'm like, I want to do that, right? Like EntreMD is something I want to do. I want to disrupt the healthcare space. I want to show physicians what is possible. I want to help us live life and practice medicine on their terms. I'm free to do that. That's what I want to do. I'm free to travel, right? Today, my mom had an appointment. It took 5 hours. I took her for the appointment. We sat there for the appointment. We came back. Like, I'm free. I'm building this, but I'm free. Okay? All right. Now, the reason why I'm sharing all of this is because I want us to embrace what is possible. Okay? I want us to embrace what is possible. So I'm gonna try and keep quiet here. Because I want you to meet my friend, Dr. Jose. Thank you. Thank you. Let me unmute. Akita, will you run this? Tell me who I'm bringing up first.
Dr.
Makita is so cool. She loves doctors. She's like, I'm gonna be here all week talking to the doctors. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. We have first Dr. Sharub. I'm just trying to see if I can get her to unmute.
Okay, let me find her.
If I see her.
I don't see her on here.
Oh, okay.
She's not here yet. Yeah. But I am going to put somebody on the spot if I find her, because she is a perfect example of this. Okay. Nikita, I'll let you tell me who's ready when.
Okay.
I'll just do my Dr. Una thing.
Okay.
Dr. Emeka is here.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dr. Emeka. Tag, you are it. Nikita, you probably gave them an order and I'm messing it all up, right?
Yeah, that's okay. He's currently he'll be available in just a moment.
Okay. All right, Dr. Ngozi, you're here. This is why I don't do these things. This is why I have a team.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I am so glad doctors get to meet you. Okay, so I am going to let you, first of all, introduce yourself to everybody. And if I remember correctly, I know. You were one of the people who already had like a super established business and all of that before you even came into EBS. So introduce yourself. Tell us how, what business was like, what Dream Life looked like at that point, and then where we are now.
Okay, so hi everybody. I go by Dr. Uday. I am a board certified family medicine physician. I am based in Martinsburg, West Virginia. I own my primary care practice with my husband, so we co-own it together. He's a hospitalist, and I also do aesthetics as well. So, Dr. Una, just like you said, we did have a thriving practice. I thought it was really good, but I don't think once I learned a lot of things, it wasn't well run. The other thing was that whole dream life. Once I started having the mindset shifts that I've been having, I realized that I hadn't achieved as much of it as I thought I did. And so for me, I think a big portion of this is mindset. That just is it, because everything that we want, we are capable of getting it. We just have to believe it and know that we can get it. And so I think for me, that's the big thing. For me, financial freedom is the top thing. Taking care of my patients, leaving a legacy of, helping people. But the other big one that I didn't realize was, also making sure that I was there for my family. And that was a big thing that I did not realize, was kind of slipping. And so it's been amazing, just watching myself, transition, change, grow, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's been amazing. We just came back from a 7-day Mediterranean cruise, but we were away for 11 days. I can't even believe it, because before a year ago, because this is my second year with EBS. Before EBS, I don't think I ever took a vacation that was longer than probably 3 or 4 days. It had to span the weekend. So I would take maybe two days off my business, and I was attached to it by the hip. And here I am taking 11 days off, and it doesn't mean that there wasn't any problems, but the way I'm even approaching it is different. It's like, when I got back, I was excited to see, what went right, what went wrong. I was ready to assess. Before, I would have been like, oh my goodness, what happened? And it's just, so for me, it's mindset. All the things that I've been learning in the school, the community is amazing. But all the things I've been learning, the morning routine, reading. I love to read, but it's something that I wasn't doing as much until I got back into got into the school. And then also talking to other doctors that are doing the same thing. So it's been amazing. So just like you said, Dr. Una, it's not easy, but it's simpler than you think. So thank you very much.
Okay, so that's a writer downer, right? It's not easy, but it's simpler than you think. How many of you can take that and run with it? It's like, okay, right? It's not easy, but it's simpler than you think. So it's within reach. You have to work for it, but not as hard as med school, but you have to work for it, right? Okay, so Dr. Ngozi, you dropped all kinds of things here. So I'm just gonna, like, I love pulling out magic when I hear it. And so think of this where you're like, I had a practice, it was doing very well. In my mind, it was like we were good, and all of these things, family was like, all of those things were good. And then you come into this environment and you're like, wait, this is not well run. And in EBS, we don't say that's a problem. We say that's an opportunity, right? To take something that's good and make it even better. And then you're realizing, okay, family, I can invest more in that. That looked like it was slipping and all of that. And who here owns a private practice? Because your private practice people will get it, right? Like 11 days out of a business, like, are you nuts? And you come back and you're talking about assessing things, not like losing your mind, right? That right there is magic. Because, like when you start running, if you don't treat it like a business, it's something like the second you wake up, you're thinking about it. You go to bed, you're thinking about it. Like you're away, you're signing in, logging in, checking on what people are doing, checking how many people on the schedule, all kinds of foolishness, right? But here you are on a cruise for 11 days, right? So talk to me, because I know, you have the husband, you have kids, all those things. What difference has that made? Like, you're building this business, it was already successful, you're making it even more successful, you're making it even better run. And then on the other side, how are you working? Like, what does the family piece look like, right? Other than, I'm sure your family was ecstatic, you guys went on vacation, but
they were so happy, especially my kiddos. The only way I could say it is, I didn't realize it. It just opened my eyes. Like the whole mindset shift that I've been having opened my eyes to what was missing. The trip was amazing. It's not something that I would have thought I could do. The other thing on the business piece of it was, I felt like I had to be the heart of my business, but now what I'm working on is being the soul of my business. So having somebody else do it with my essence still there, but I don't have to. So you always say, build a business that you can sell. And so that is the way I'm thinking of it, because for me to be able to actually spend time with my family, take all those special moments, because my kids are growing. I mean, my oldest is 14, my youngest is 5, and I don't want to miss those crucial moments. And the funny thing is, I really thought, I don't know, I really thought I was spending that quality time. But now that I'm truly doing it, being able to meet all their meetings, being able to obviously spend quality one-on-one, the other cute week with the daily routine, now I'm making sure that I'm actually present. And before I thought I was. So again, it's just the eye-opening nature of this. So it's invaluable. I can't even put it into words. When it comes to the family piece, because literally that's why we do what we do. I have the practice and I'm trying to build a life and a legacy for my children. And a lot of times you don't think about it. You just go to work, see patients, do all this stuff. And then the people that you're actually doing it for, they get your fumes. And so now what I'm doing is I'm flipping it the other way. I read one of the books that I read, said, look at your schedule. And if your schedule, if you're spending more time, well, basically assess what you're spending the most time on, because that's actually what's truly important. And when I looked at my schedule, I was like, yikes, I need to change this up real quick. So it's been amazing. So that family piece, amazing. I don't know how else to express it.
Okay, are you guys seeing this? This is somebody who is actively growing her very successful business, right? And at the same time, you can hear the family piece, the one-on-ones, the time we're spending. They're scheduled in 11 days away from the business, all that happening at the same time. We can live life and practice medicine on our terms. That is exactly what she's doing. And Dr. Ngozi would tell you that we probably told her to come on and share this story maybe 30 minutes ago, if that, right? But at this point, maybe an hour ago. So I didn't even know what she was going to say. But I know, right? Because this is what we do in EBS. This is not about building a business in isolation. This is about doing both. And Dr. Ngozi, I don't know, these are all bombs you're dropping here, right? Like I felt I had to be the heart of my business. I have to be the soul of my business, right? So people are doing it, but they're doing it with my essence. Did you guys hear that? That's what we do, right? And you may be like, well, I'm at a point where I don't even see that I would sell this business. In EBS, we're like, it doesn't matter. We want you to build it with that foundation, because the time is coming when you're like, I want to put myself in a position where I can. And we don't want to say, oh, you've been climbing up the wrong ladder all these years, so there's no way that can happen. We don't want to have to say that to you. We want to say, yep, and we gave you the right foundation. You're building it right. Right? So this is beautiful. And she made a statement. She said, I just didn't realize it. I just didn't realize my practice was not as well run. I did not just realize I wasn't spending as much time with my family as I did. So I want you to think for a second. What are the things you don't realize? They're within reach. They could be a reality, but you just don't realize them. You just don't realize them. And this is why you will constantly hear me put out the invitation to you. There is a magical place for you if you are a physician. It is called the EntreMD Business School. Okay? It is about you creating that business that helps you, that gives you the opportunity to help a lot of people create financial freedom and build your dream life at the same time. Right? Okay. So Dr. Ngozi, you were in this spot, I don't know, 2 years ago or something like that, right? And somebody here is on the fence. They're just like, I hear you, but, right? Either I don't have the time, I don't have the resources, I've done something like this before and it didn't work, like I don't know, right? You've been at it. First of all, you did your first year and you're like, I want me some more of this, right? And, right? So what would you say to that person?
Just do it. Like the Nike commercial, just do it. You need it. I mean, when I joined, at that point, I realized that I had pushed myself as far as I could go. I knew I had more growth. I knew I needed more, and I knew I couldn't do it on my own. So if you're in that position, just do it. It's not, and for me, I made that commitment. I said, I'm going to do this for a year. You know how they always say, it's stupid thing is doing something, the same thing and expecting a different result. I had done I pushed myself as far as I could go. And I realized that I needed to, I wanted the financial freedom. I wanted to spend that time with my family. And I needed to find a way to do that. And so again, I would just say, just do it. Being on the other end of it, you just don't realize what you don't know. So, and the beauty of it is you get the teaching, but you also get connected to other amazing individuals that are different from you, but they complement you because they know so much than you'll ever know. So together, you're able to share. So the stuff you can share with them, the stuff they know they can share with you. And then as, a community, because I mean, doctors were amazing. So with us being together in such a powerful community, I mean, you can't go wrong. So I would say just do it.
All right, she said like the Nike commercial, just do it. So first step up is turning your application on EntreMD.com/apply. That's the step that changes everything. It's amazing, right? Dr. Ngozi, thank you so much for coming to share your story. This is so good. So
You're
good.
welcome.
So good.
Thank you.
Tell the family I said hi.
Bye.
Okay, can you guys show her some love in the chat? Let's show Dr. Uday some love. Some love, some love. Thank you for coming on to share. And we'll see. We can handle another person. Okay. All right. So we have, let me see. We have Dr. Chiruba here. Okay, so she is a total rock star. Okay, so I'm happy she's here. Let me bring her on. Dr. Chiruba, hi.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. How are you?
I am good. I am in my car and I am trying to hopefully be in a reception. But okay, but let me know if you can. I think we should be good.
I think we're good. Totally good.
All right.
All right, so Dr. Chiruba, we are talking about, creating that dream life as you build your wildly successful business, right? And so I really am excited that, we get to share stories here because we find ourselves in stories, right? We did some tactical things, like these are the things you can do, but I want people to see what that really looks like. So I want you to introduce yourself and then just give us like what business and life look like pre-EBS. Now that you've worked on the dream, what does business and life look like now? You see what I mean? Like, yeah, so go for it.
Great. So I am Dr. Prabhakar, Chiruba Prabhakar. I'm a board certified OBGYN and fellowship trained minimally invasive surgeon from the East Coast, and now live in the West Coast in the Bay Area in California. And after being an employed physician, right after fellowship for about 7 years, I then decided to follow my dream of opening up my own private practice here in the Bay Area. Not just any private practice, a cash out of network private practice and surgery practice. And I'm saying all those things because these are things I did not really think were possible. When I first did my residency and fellowship, I was like, the dream was well and alive, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to start my own practice, open my own doors, and all these things. And then I came out to the West Coast, and all I saw were corporate, medical entities, big business, all the medical, like small groups being engulfed by these big corporate entities. And I was like, all right, well, I need some time just to like become a good doctor, become a good surgeon. Like I need the experience. So I did that for a while. But after a while, I was like, this can't be it. Like, I mean, you're 6 now and this is it. Like, I'm just trying to get through the day with 24 patients. And, I had 2 kids at that point. I was pregnant with my 3rd. So I was like, okay, the benefits are nice. The kind of the name and the prestige of working at an institution is nice. The paid maternity leave is nice. All those things are nice. And so I could do that for a while, but I'm like, I can't do this, in the long run. I can't do this forever. So what's next? And then I would think like, okay, but I'm going to go open that private practice. And I'm like, no way can I do that. There's nobody around me doing that. Everybody told me I couldn't do it. Like I would talk to my mentors and they would tell me, that's really hard. Like, you're not going to be able to do that. And then I would get sad again. But I was like, this, I know there's more and I need to figure out how to do it. And then I entered the EntreMD business school. And my decision from like when I was exposed to the business school to when I started was like 4 weeks. Like, I think I talked to Makita twice and I was just like, wow, this is what I need. This is the group that I need to be in to give this a shot. Like if I'm gonna think that I'm gonna open a private practice, like with all these people around me saying no and you can't do it and all this negativity and all this stuff, I was like, let me just see. And when I started the group, even I was there every Wednesday. I went to the vision retreat. Dr. Una told us, dream big, write your vision. And even then, I did not start my own private practice because it was so ingrained in me that, oh, well, that's nice, but that's not really feasible. Like, that's really not going to happen. That was Vision Retreat 1. Vision Retreat 2 was the first week of having opened my doors to the private practice. So 1 year, within a year, within 14 months of being in EBS, not only had I overcome that fear of starting a practice, I actually left my job. I, opened my own practice and I had patients scheduled. And this is all, with 3 kids, by the way, like, small kids. So that's kind of been my journey in, a nutshell. Am I on track here, Dr. Una?
You are on track, and your story still blows me away.
Okay.
I still remember you coming into the
Okay.
second vision retreat.
Yes. And I look back to my notes from the first vision retreat, and I was like, I was supposed to be dreaming. Where is the word private practice? It's not. Those 2 words are not here. And so anyway, but it's really been more than just the business. It's really been an experience. It's been a life experience. Is how I would describe my journey with EBS and Dr. Una. It's not just about the business education. This is not just about like the nuts and bolts of, oh, here's how you start a business, here's how you do this and that, right? It's about all of the things. It's the mindset, it's the discipline, it's stretching yourself in ways that you do not know were possible. And that's actually one of the reasons I'm in year 3 now of EBS. And that's one of the reasons I stay, because for me, it's like, I don't even know what I don't know. Like, I know more this month than I knew last month. And I knew more than I did the month before. And so it's just kind of, I feel like I'm moving in these concentric circles, like, in these different spheres almost. And there's kind of like no end, really. Like, I'm going to be in the school for life, I think. So as long as Dr. Una will have me. So yeah, so it's kind of like that. So it's been an experience, and not just in the confidence that I've built in opening the business, but I'm doing it very differently than anybody else in this area. So that takes a certain level of guts and confidence and business acumen, which I don't really have inherently. Like, it's all things I've learned and it's things I've dared to do, and I'm okay with saying, okay, if I mess up, it's okay. Versus, I think as doctors, we're just sort of like very type A perfectionist type people. We can't even imagine opening a business without knowing all the things. But I was okay with that. I was like, I have a community to lean on. If I don't know something, I'm gonna put it out in the group. Somebody will know, somebody will help me out. And so I just put one step in front of the other, and it's been great. And I've really prioritized my family. Like, right now I'm in the car because I was able to actually pick up my kids on the last day of school. Now, in my employed position, the school pickup is like 3 p.m., which is like in the middle of our workday, right, as doctors. And so I would have to have asked, for that afternoon off, like weeks before, moved a bunch of patients and all that stuff. And now I'm like, okay, my kids want me to be there on the last day of school. I want to be there. So I'm there to pick them up. Yesterday was their year-end picnic. I mean, I would never have gone to that, or never even had time to think about that. I would always save my days for emergencies or things like that. But my daughter really wanted me to be there, and she's been asking me for a month that I should be there at this picnic. And you know what? I surprised her, and I was there at the picnic because I own my schedule. And I went to the picnic in the afternoon. I saw 3 patients, and so it's not like it was just a day off, but I'm able to make life and business work together. And I am in control 100%. And that to me is just priceless. And yeah, I mean, I really, that has been the biggest kind of bonus of this whole entrepreneurial journey. And I'm coming up on year 1 this October of my practice. And I just interviewed somebody to take the position at my front desk because my current person is leaving to nursing school. And when I interviewed her, she's like, wow, this practice is very different than anything I've interviewed for, anything I've heard of in this area. She's like, this is really exciting. So it just gives me like just so much joy every day to go to work. And the medicine now is the easy part of what I do. It's like, I don't have to think like for the medical part of it, but it's the business, it's running the business, it's the creative ways that I get to kind of change things and do things that are so exciting. And yeah, my marriage is better. I mean, I think my husband just is like, wow, this girl's serious. Like, he's an entrepreneur himself. And so I think he's just gained a whole new level of like respect for kind of what I'm doing, because he knows it's hard as an entrepreneur. He knows that running a business is really hard. And so that's been really, really exciting. And just the friendships that I've made, and just the network that I have. The network is your net worth. And I think just the network that I have all across the country is just fabulous. So it's made my life better. Yes, it's made my work better for sure. But more than that, I would say, honestly, it's made my life better, and me just a better mom, a better wife, a better person. And despite all of this, starting a business and doing all these things, I'm there for me. And that's pretty cool, because I can't say that in, having been an employed physician and all of that. Like, yes, I got a paycheck, but I can't say that I was always there for me. Now I'm there for me. And that to me is, again, something that's priceless. Okay, I'll stop talking now.
Well, that was so good. That's why I didn't interrupt you. She's like, my marriage is better. I'm there for my kids. I'm there for me, right? I'm in control 100%. Like this is wild. I have a really big network. Think about all those things, right? All over the country, man. And again, there are people from EBS here. So if she's lying, but you listen to her. This is her lived experience, right? And this is a time, and think about this, right? You're coming up on your first anniversary for your practice, and your practice is doing so much better than you thought it would do. So in this stage where people are all stressed out, pulling out their hair, they can't find clients, they can't find patients, all of these things, you're crushing milestones, you're crushing your life, you're crushing your marriage, you're crushing stuff with your kids. It doesn't mean there are no challenges. It doesn't mean there are not any hard days, but you've learned how to build the business and build the life and enjoy it all. Thank you for sharing that. That was so good.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, feel free to reach out to me if anybody, later has any questions or anything. But yeah, it's been really just such a great experience, and I can't wait to see what the next year holds and years hold. And I think it's prevented me from burning out, honestly, because there's nothing inherently wrong about my job before, and I want to throw that out there. Like, it's not like my job was, I worked so hard and I was doing charts at night. No, my job, I mean, yes, I saw a lot of patients, but it was very efficient. I left at 5, all my charts closed. Like, it was pretty great. I was ahead of my practice. Like, I had, a bit of leeway compared to a lot of other doctors. So it was not a bad, by any means, it was not a bad job, but I knew there was more. But I did not have the people to get me to that more. And, sometimes they say there are no shortcuts in life, right? But there are. And EBS is a big shortcut to getting to where you want to be, because, people have figured it out. They're laying the path before you. And so I think, so while people are burning out all around me, for me, I don't feel that way, because I'm just so energized every day, actually going to work. It's like fun for me. So it's been good.
Oh man. Okay, you guys heard her. Thank you for sharing that. Now, officially, Makita, this is our new language. If you're looking for a shortcut, you have found it. It is EBS, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Guys, listen, like, again, if you hear this happen, you would hear this so often. I just knew there was more. I knew there was more. Knew there was more. There's an incubator for more. Like, if you're thinking, I know there's more, that more, you can have it. That more is so good. Like, I knew when I was doing my private practice, like, there's more. I had no idea what more is. This is the version of more as of 2023. We have no idea where we're going. But that more turned into a whole new business. It turned into a podcast. It turned into a business school. It turned into multiple books. It turned up with the most amazing community that I get to be in. Like the EntreMD Business School community inspires me. Like with all these networks, all these doctors that I've got, just from more. If you're just thinking, I know there's more, that more, there's so much in it. And I'm like, explore it. Don't let it sit. You might say, I don't have everything figured out. Dr. Chiruba, her first year in EBS, she was the fiber, she was building her brand. That's what she was building. The entire first year, she was building her brand. But look at where she is now. And this is just the beginning of that more. Like, right? Like she hasn't even scratched the surface. And Dr. Chiruba, you're not ready for what I have coming. You're not ready, but it's good.
Oh, okay.
But it's so good.
Well, I'm on auto, resubscribe.
She's like, I'm on auto resubscribe, whatever. Bring it on, Dr. Una.
That's not even a question in my house. Nobody in my house is going to question that decision to be in.
So you heard her. Don't let more go unaddressed. Don't let more go unexplored. On EntreMD.com/apply, turn in your application. Okay? Turn in your application and explore that. More for you could look like, I want to take this, coaching business that I have and do it like I mean it. I want to build it to multiple 6 figures. I want to build it to 7 figures. That may be more. More may mean I have my business. I thought I'd arrived, but there's more. I don't know what more is. There's an incubator where you can figure out more. Okay. So turn in your application. Don't leave more unaddressed. Dr. Chiruba, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. This is so good.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Love it.
Bye.
All right, guys, show Dr. Chiruba some love in the chat. Okay, some love. And can you guys take one more? Let me know in the chat. Can you take one more? Otherwise, we just end this. We just be done. Can you take one more? Yes? Okay, let's do one more. All right, so I have here a total rock star. His name is Dr. Emeka Obidi. Hi, Dr. Emeka.
Hello, Dr. Una. Hi, everyone.
Hi, you're back.
Well,
I see a familiar background. Okay, so I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and, really share your story, like, business and life pre-EBS, business and life now, because after being EBS for a while, it kind of becomes like a new normal in a way, but I want people to get a feel for what life can look like. Like you really can build that business. You really can have that life, right? And so your story is like such a perfect example of it. So over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Una. So I'm Dr. Obidi. I'm a pediatrician. Go Peds. I'm a pediatrician. I run a family practice here in Hagerstown, Maryland, Western Maryland. So I have a team of 4 nurse practitioners, 2 full-time, 2 part-time. We're hiring right now for another nurse practitioner and a physician as well. Life pre-EBS. So I've run the practice now, actually in our 10th year of running the practice. So been at this for a little bit, and it's taken me a little bit to get to a place where I feel like I really understand what's going on. And that's all really post-EBS. I mean, pre-EBS, I had already started to do some coaching. So realizing I needed more help, there was more more skills I needed to acquire. And so, which is probably why it didn't take me long to decide to like jump, on board and sign up for the business school, because I'd already seen how helpful coaching can be to me. And so when I attended the Visibility Formula a little over a year ago and just saw how practical it was, there were a few challenges he threw out that week that I jumped on and saw immediate results. And I was like, okay, this is the real deal. There's no point wasting time. I really thought about, okay, because there was something else I had going on, another coaching program I had going on then. I was like, can I maybe I should just wait till the end of the year, because this was like April or so. And so I'll wait till November, I'll be done with that, you know, because I'm really getting some value there. So it's not a waste of money either. But I said, oh my God, but April to November, I can only imagine what I'll be missing out on just based on this 1 week of taking action on this, you know, visibility formula workshop, that I can't even imagine what I'll be missing out on. And so I looked at my schedule, figured it out, and, you know, and the rest is history. So a year out now, and there've been so many changes. It's really, it's astounding to when I think back, you know. I think the biggest ones have been just getting to really appreciate what I do and what I have and what I've been able to. I used to minimize my wins, minimize what I do. And so that kind of spilled into everything else, right? There wasn't confidence with what I was doing. I was second guess myself all the time. And so even though I'd built a practice and had sort of grown it, and over the last 10 years, I still didn't really appreciate it that much. And so there was a lot of anxiety over, you know, am I doing the right thing? Is this working? There was a lot of anxiety over what the future holds. There was a lot of anxiety over just the day-to-day running of the practice. And it's been amazing just to see the transformation in my confidence, in what I know I bring to the table, in what I know is possible. It really has been a great experience so far. You know, just speaking to what the theme of the evening, we've been able to build a life and a business that you really love. There's what Dr. always says in the business school, like, you know, you can have a version of your dream life now. That was such a powerful message, because prior to that, I was always like postponing till like, okay, you know, someday, and, you know, out there we'll get to be able to do all these things we'd love to be able to do. And she's like, there's some version of it you can have right now. And so I really leaned into it, and that has been just amazing, right? And even just to mention real quick, I didn't even finish my first year when there was an opportunity to really up-level the sort of coaching I was doing in EntreMD business in ABS with another level program that kind of spoke to physicians who had teams they were leading that needed to sort of get a better handle of that with EntreMD scale, with ABS scale. And so kind of jumped on that also because I knew that was what I needed at that time. And it's been astounding. This past year has been just an amazing year. Started out really well from just going back to family life. I was able to plan. Our wedding anniversary is in January, and it always used to just take me by surprise because, you know, it's like there's, you know, Thanksgiving, and then there's Christmas and New Year. Oh yes, I forgot. Our wedding anniversary is like, you know, a week after New Year. I always used to scramble at the last minute to make it work and to make it a nice day and a nice, you know, celebration. But for the first time, I was able to really plan this ahead of time. And, you know, 3 months out, because we had already looked at our whole calendar for the next year. And when we looked at the calendar at EBS scale, the first thing that went on the calendar was vacation time and time with family and commitment with family. So Dr. Moon is really not, she's not mincing words when she says that she's not willing to build a business at the expense of her family. That was what came first. And because it came first, I was able to put my, you know, anniversary on the calendar, put our birthdays on the calendar, put all those things on the calendar, and then everything else went around it. And so we had a wonderful trip to Cancun. It was beautiful. I had time to plan it. You know, my wife had an amazing time. Even getting chills right now talking about it, but it was really amazing. It really was. And same thing also, because we had planned it ahead of time. I just came back from Jamaica with the family. We had our summer vacation. We planned this all the way in October. You know, it was on the schedule. This is when we're going to take that time. Before I will have, you know, oh, kids is on vacation. Let's figure out what we're doing. What are we going to do for vacation? for summer, right? But because, again, we're intentionally building our lives and our businesses at the same time, and making sure that we're not sacrificing our families and the things that really matter to us, and we're able to fit that in. You know, it's been amazing to, again, realize it's amazing how you can be a slave to your business if you're not careful. And even though one of the advantages of actually owning a practice and owning your own business is the flexibility of your time, it takes some really intentionality to realize that you do have flexibility of time, right? Because Dr. Cheruba could easily have said, oh, there's no way I can go hang out with my daughter. I have a practice, it's crazy, it's all this stuff I have to do. And that was the way I used to think also. But because of the mindset change, this year, earlier on in the school year, one of my kids was struggling with schoolwork just because, she got back from school, and I didn't mention that my wife and I run the business together. So she's the office administrator. And so, half the time we're in the practice and they were doing their own thing and not just, using their time efficiently. And we either had to have them in the office here or leave them to their own devices at home. And work wasn't just getting done. And I'm actually the best person with my temperament to help them with schoolwork. And it just dawned on me again, just from mindset change, that I can actually make it work. And so I looked at my calendar. We have what we call a CEO calendar in EBS, where we can just look at the calendar and look at all the things that need to get done in business and life and everything, and so put it all on paper and make it work. And I was able to make it work, where for the last maybe half of the school year, I was able to get off work at 3:30, 4 o'clock at the latest, and get back home and be with the kids as they were coming back from school, and then do another hour and a half of telehealth at home and make it work. And that would never have happened pre-EBS. I would have just said, sorry, there's nothing I can do. Let's just figure it out somehow. But just the mindset to say, okay, how can this be possible? How can I make this work? This is what's needed right now. How can I make it work, right? My middle kid is turning 16 in like a few days. We're planning this sweet 16 party for her like in another couple of weeks. And that would have stressed me out pre-EBS. I'm like, oh my God, now all the things we had to do for that party. And, and there was some training I was planning for the, for our business, for the team here at the office. And that would have stressed me out to no end. Like, why does this party have to come in right now when I have this training I have to do? But because of the place I'm in right now, I can say, okay, training can wait. It's not a big deal. This is what's needed right now. And I'm fully present as we're planning that. I'm not like half somewhere else when my wife is talking to me about the preparations. I'm fully present. I'm fully doing what I need to do. And it may seem like a small thing, but these are really big things that make a big difference to the balance. My wife and I are doing so much better when it comes to how we run the practice and how we communicate around running the practice, which used to be a big stressor in and of itself. But again, all that has happened because of the mindset and all the principles of learning EBS. And just knowing, I'm sitting in an office that I renovated this year only because of a mindset change. And I was like, I need an office that I can walk in. And I told them before my office had a desk that the previous owner, because I've worked at a practice for 17 years and owned it for the last 10 or 18 years, owned it for the last almost 9, 10 years. But the desk I had in my office was the desk the previous owner had for that desk was probably like 25 years old. With just old furniture that I could have changed maybe 10 years ago, but just didn't have the mindset of, okay, I didn't value myself enough to realize that this is what I need, to be able to function at my highest. And it's been wonderful. It's great to be able to lead a team and know that I'm developing the skills I need to lead my team well. I've been doing a bunch of one-on-one meetings with my leadership team, just finished one earlier on today. And it was just nice there was a confidence that came with sitting in that meeting, hearing the feedback, some of it stuff I need to change, some of it, were good things, and not being flustered by all of it, if that makes any sense. So I could go on and on and on, but it's been a beautiful experience. There is work. And actually, one of the things I've learned in EBS that's actually made a big difference is realizing there is work and fully accepting that there's work, right? And not fighting it. And I think just knowing, and we talk about all the time about, yes, there's a place to go to the high rise and look at the beautiful plan of what you're, working on. And there's a place to coming back down to the construction site and the messiness of it all. And I am, for the first time, at peace in the messiness. Like, team members are leaving and they're calling out, they're leaving without calling out, or like stuff isn't going like it's supposed to, I'm okay in that messiness, it's uncomfortable. It's not always great, but I'm comfortable in that place knowing that this is what's required to get to where I want to get to. And I can, and it will get better, today will pass. I'll be okay. When I was on vacation, and it's been that way for a while, actually. Whenever I'm on vacation, I don't even think about the office. I don't call, you guys are fine. You guys will call me if you need me. And it's always okay. Nothing falls apart, right? And, but that takes a certain mindset to be able to do that. And it's been beautiful. I can't wait for the end of the year because there's so many things I've been working on this year that I know will yield, great dividend down the road. And I'm like, can we just fast forward to December? But yeah, it's been a beautiful journey.
Okay, I don't even know what to say about all that. So I'm gonna ask the question. Indulge me, guys. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go soon. Hearing this story, what is the first word that comes to mind? First word or first phrase? What comes to mind for you? Because he hit it from all kinds of different angles, all the way to your dream life at work, where you're at work and there's stress, where you have peace. Like all of it is just so wild. So let me know. Type it in the chat. What is the first thing that comes to you? In control, peace, confidence, being comfortable with discomfort, control, growth. It's transformation, balance. This is so crazy. Joy. Because I want you, this is an example. This is your third example today. This is an example. Building a business, growing the business, leading my team at a higher capacity, doing all of that, making time for the kids, making time for things that matter to me, even when things, accepting the hard work. Do you know how peaceful it is? How much peace it brings to you to get out of resistance and just realize, wow, looks like business takes hard work. Okay, fine, I'm done. We'll do the hard work. Just that takes away probably like 50% of your stress, because you're not going like, you shouldn't take all that. Why is it? Like you're out of that. So he has peace at work. He has peace at home. I hope you got it, right? Our anniversary was in January and I was in Mexico. And then I just came back with my kids from my family from Jamaica, right? I was like, so we're doing this big vacation once a quarter. Is that what we're doing? That's what he's doing, people. That's what he's doing. So, but think about all of that. You can have that. Now, I'm so glad you talked about the work piece, because we're not saying just join EBS and this life will fall on you. What we're saying is join EBS so you can be in a community of people who are doing this. And we've given you 3 examples, but Makita will tell you, she talked to somebody else, but they were at a basketball game with their kid, AKA living their dream life. She talked to somebody else where they were on their way to the airport. They were on their way to the airport to go to Greece, AKA living their dream life. Like she talks to you and they're doing the life. That's why they're not here. I could call person after person after person. It's a community of people who are doing this stuff. So are we building the business? Yes. Are we building the life? Yes. Like it's all happening. So the things you're seeing in the physician community, you can unsubscribe from that. You can have a different reality. And your first step is a simple application. Like how crazy is that? EntreMD.com/apply. Right? So we're not saying, we're not trying to hard sell you on any of those things. We're not doing that. What we are trying to do is we're trying to show you what is possible and encourage you to make that one decision. Everybody here, the pivotal moment was a decision. Is to help you make that decision. And it could be absolutely not. But you don't want to hang in the balance. Okay. All right. So Dr. Emeka, you're going to take us home. What would you tell the person who's thinking, who's wondering? Right? Who's wondering? Who's not sure?
Yeah. I would just say, value yourself. You are worth it. Your dreams are worth it. And in the grand scheme of things, the cost for the business school is really nothing, honestly. We will make it work. I think if you were here yesterday, you saw one of the docs, made it work. You really have to, and that was actually something I learned a long time ago. You first of all just make the decision for what you want to do, and then everything else sort of just falls in place. You figure out the how to later on. If you try and figure out the how to before, it's always messy and somehow it just never adds up on paper. But I mean, it's like with the kids. I was like, okay, the kids need me at home. Okay, they need me at home. Period. I'm going to be home. How can it work? Because actually, when I made the decision, I didn't even think it was possible for me to still keep the volume of patients I was seeing. I already decided, they need me at home. If I have to cut down the number of hours I'm working and, just see less patients for this period of time, that's what it is. But when I actually went back and looked at the schedule and moved things around, I realized, oh, I can actually see the same amount of patients and still make that work, right? I think it's the same thing. You just decide, this is what I need right now. It seems like what I need right now. We're all just not blowing whatever up your backside. This is really real. And if you feel like it's what you need, then it's what you need. Everything else will work itself out. And this is not to, I don't know what phrase to use. Dr. Una is really brilliant. She really is. Anyone in business school will tell you. She makes it seem very easy, but when I actually joined this business school, I just paid all of it a one-time payment because there was a special bonus then to be able to hang out with Dr. Ona for a little bit to do one-on-one, sort of coaching with her as a bonus. And honestly, there's gold in the group. I wouldn't, if I had to pick between having Dr. Ona as a one-on-one coach versus having her as a group coach, I would take the group coach any day. Sorry.
I am not offended. I'm not offended at all.
But truly though, truly only because there's so much I have learned from hearing other people talk about their businesses, their challenges, the solutions that I preferred to their challenges, just like, parts of my brain light up that were lit before. I just make connections that I would not have made if it was just me and her one-on-one. But that being said, there was humongous value in that one-on-one time I sat down with her that really has contributed to some of what I'm seeing right now. Just to say, the point I was trying to make is that she's brilliant. The school really is not fluff. You really get very practical things. The book we're reading right now, the book of the month, 10X is better than 2, I think is what it's called. Oh my God, like I read it.
It's blowing your mind, no? I told
blowing
you
my
guys.
mind. I was reading it. I said to listen to it on the way back from Jamaica, and I was like, oh my God. And there's some, I know, we'll talk about it later on in class. There are some connections I was making. I was like, oh my God, what could be happening 5 years from now? It's just incredible. But anyway, so all to say that school is practical. It's real. Yes, it's work. We are all constantly embracing discomfort. And it's not always, and I think a lot of people said that it's not like you're doing everything perfectly. One of the reasons I actually joined business school and what I was looking forward to were the monthly challenges we had, because I just saw how powerful that could be if one really gave oneself to it. And I'll be honest, I haven't done half of it like I was supposed to, like I thought I was going to. And it was one of the decisions I made, this EntreMD live event was like, okay, that was part of why you joined the EBS school. It was because of the challenges. You're not doing them like you should be, give yourself more fully to it. But there's so much strategy, really heavy, not heavy, real meaty stuff that we learn, but in a container that's safe and that allows us to collectively embrace discomfort and be okay with it. You know, we learn how to celebrate wins, which is such a humongous, which is such a powerful thing to be able to do, because it really helps you weather those difficult periods, because it's never 100% like not working. One of my most favorite phrases that I would always have for the rest of my life is that it's always working. We say that all the time in EBS because it is always working, even when it looks like it's not. And so learning the skill of being able to celebrate all those little wins, which add up to the big wins, has been priceless. So anyway, all that to say, join.
Like I said, all that to say, this join, right?
Join. It'll be totally worth it.
Thank you, Dr. Mecca, for sharing your story. Your story is always, always inspiring. To just think this is end of year one, right? Like, isn't that crazy?
Can't wait.
That's so crazy.
Exactly.
So guys, this is the deal, okay? You were here for EntreMD Live. You kept coming. You listened to the podcast. You do all of this. It's for a reason. There's at least an element of curiosity there, right? So I want to don't. If this is absolutely not, that's okay. That's okay. I create the podcast. I do all this other stuff. There's so many ways, right? But if you're like, I want this, right? Maybe I want to have a conversation about this. Maybe I have one more question about this. Fill out an application. Nikita's here. Nikita will reach out. She'll call you. She'll answer your questions. But think of who your classmates will be. Dr. Mecca, Dr. Uday, Dr. Sharuba, you heard from, the 5 doctors you heard from on EntreMD Live, the doctors you heard from yesterday. And we could pull them. We could keep pulling 3 of them every day for the rest of the year. And you would just keep hearing different variations of dream life and dream business, different stages, different kinds of businesses, different, like all of that. So don't exclude yourself. Just fill out your application on EntreMD.com/apply. And Dr. Mecca said something powerful. He said, you make the decision first. The how doesn't precede the decision. And everything we're talking about here, they're the same things you're going to use in your business. It's the same thing. You're going to decide, this is the revenue I want, and then you figure out the how. You're going to decide, this is the kind of team I'm going to lead, and then you're going to figure out the how. That's the way it works. You're going to decide, I'm going to thrive in the midst of a recession, and then you'll figure out the how. Right? So it's no different. This decision you're making is no different from the decisions you're going to need to make in your business. It is the decision first. It's like when we go for a vision retreat, we don't go there to figure out how. We go there to figure out what. What do I want? Right? We put it there, we're like, yikes, how? Right? How follows the what. So you decide and the how follows. This is the way your entire entrepreneurial journey will be. Okay? So EntreMD.com/apply. Don't exclude yourself. Okay. If you have questions, that's fine. Just fill out an application. The team is happy to take care of you. Okay. So Dr. Emeka, Dr. Uday, Dr. Sharuba, thank you so much for sharing your stories. Everyone who came out tonight, thank you for coming out tonight. Looking forward to seeing you in the school. Orientation call is 7 p.m. on Thursday. And we're going to sneak you into the call tomorrow where we're going to be looking at cash infusion strategies for the last 2 weeks of Q2. Okay, so what a way to start. Okay, so go turn in your application, and then I will see you guys in the group on the podcast. I'm here for you regardless. Okay, I want to see you in the school, but I'm here for you regardless, because as physicians, this is our time. Okay, so I'm going to end this the way I end our calls at EBS. We are the people who are going to build, who are building the most innovative, most impactful, most profitable businesses inside and outside of healthcare. This is who we are. This is who we are. This is EBS. This is who we are. And so come join us, okay? All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. Good night. This was so much fun. I'll see you guys everywhere and in the school. See you in orientation on Thursday, okay? All right, bye guys.